Alex here with another review. This time we're taking a look at Ancel's brand new Super Starter. Now they claim that this box can help you never get stranded again by a dead battery. And this is not your typical jump starter where you have to get out of the car, open the hood, find a place to connect it to. This, once it's installed, you won't even have to open the hood. It does all the work for you automatically, jump starting your vehicle, getting you back on the road. And this thing installs in minutes, and it also has app support. That way you can monitor your vehicle's battery and as well have confidence that you won't be ever stranded again. So first I'll show you how this is installed, and then we'll test it out to see how well it actually performs, and then I'll walk you through the rest of its features. And I placed a link in the description down below to this Super Starter if you'd like to get one for yourself. And the Super Starter will be placed close to the vehicle's battery. I'll start by loosening the negative battery terminal. This terminal usually has a black cable going to it. And once it's loosened enough, I can connect the negative cable coming from the Super Starter. And then I can retighten the battery clamp until it's secure. Now it's the same for the positive terminal. This terminal usually has a red cable going to it. I'm gonna loosen this just enough to make space for the positive cable coming from the Super Starter. Then I can slide the terminal in and retighten it until it is secure. And the app is called Ancel Super Starter. I'm gonna tap Add Device, and there it is. It has found the new Super Starter. And here I can enter a custom name for the Super Starter and also select the battery type I'm using. My vehicle, like most cars, has a normal lead acid battery, so I'll go ahead and tap Add, and then I can wait for this to sync. And here we go. The Super Starter is now fully set up. And to secure this to the car, they have included a set of cable ties. And the Super Starter is rated for up to 170 degrees, but I will recommend when installing it to avoid placing it on top of anything that can get very hot to the point of melting the Super Starter or melting the cable ties that hold it. I would also avoid placing it near any moving parts on the engine compartment that could damage the Super Starter or its cables. And this is now fully secure, definitely not going anywhere. And this is going to begin to charge automatically once it's installed on your vehicle. Mine took about 10-15 minutes to be fully charged, but you could also pre-charge it before installing it on the vehicle with that USB port located right here. And there's really nothing else that I have to do before I turn on the vehicle. Everything is handled automatically by the Super Starter. Now I do want to explain to you what's going on over here. This is a Super Starter and it shows that it's 95% charged. This is the battery of the vehicle, and right now it's actually quite low at 40% of its capacity. Now on the bottom, not only you have that indicator again of that state of charge, 47%, and also the vehicle's battery voltage, which is very helpful to know where the battery is in terms of volts. Well, now let's go ahead and start this vehicle. Awesome. So notice that there was some help from the Super Starter, and it tells you it was successful and what it actually did in the details. Now also notice that the battery is indicating as being charged by the vehicle, and you can see that again in here reflected by the voltage. It jumped from 12 volts to 14 volts. Now this is very helpful also because it tells us that the alternator is working. Now the other voltage that you see here is the voltage of the Super Starter and also the temperature of the Super Starter. It's actually nice and cool over here. And here you have a graph detailing what actually happened. And in addition to this main page, if you go to the second tab, Starter, here you have the details of the Super Starter by itself, including the details of the last time it helped to start the vehicle, which includes cranking time. Now, the car was actually able to start by itself before I installed the Super Starter, even though the battery is at 47%. But in my testing, which includes a total of 8 assists, tells me that this is helping to start the vehicle, relieving some of that stress of this battery that is kind of a little bit low. Now, it has done that automatically every single time, but if for some reason, if it did not do it for you automatically, they did include a force start option, and this is the way it works. You tap on here, and then you're gonna tap force start, and now you have 10 seconds to start the vehicle, and it fires up right away. That's pretty cool that they added this function so you can manually trigger that in case it doesn't do it automatically. And let's give the Super Starter a harder test. I'm gonna leave my lights on so the battery begins to drain, and then I'll come back when the battery is much lower so we can see if the Super Starter is in fact able to jumpstart a vehicle with a very, very low battery. And we are back on the vehicle, and the lights that I left on sure enough took a toll on the battery and really drained it. This is really low, but we still have our reserve in the form of that super starter. So let's go ahead and try to turn this on and see if it actually is gonna work. Awesome. This is definitely gonna eliminate the case of just leaving the lights on and potentially being stranded because we're gonna have the super starter as a reserve. There is also a history tab where you can see the history of your vehicle's battery charge status. You can see how the battery was going lower, then I left the lights on, which drained the battery quite a bit, and then you can see how the graph goes up, showing when I charged the battery. And you can see it in a small version or you can see it in a larger version, both in state of charge or in a voltage level display. And if you go to the devices tab, here's where you can manage the super starter or super starters, because you may have multiples of them installed in different vehicles, so you can rename them so you can identify them a little bit easier, or change the battery type in case you swap that out. And under settings, there's a couple interesting things in here, such as a daily power notification, and also you can set different alarm levels for you to be notified of when your battery reaches a particular charge level. Also, you can change the temperature unit, change the languages between these included ones, and check for firmware updates. And they also included a pair of alligator clips. And the idea of these guys is that if you needed to jumpstart another vehicle other than your own, you would remove the super starter from your vehicle, and then you can take this to the vehicle that needs to be jumpstart, and then using the included alligator clips, you can temporarily connect the leads to it so you can jumpstart that vehicle. It's not the most elegant solution in my opinion, but hey, at least it'll give you the ability to jumpstart other vehicles other than your own. And I will tell you that after installing this thing, I do feel like the car starts a little bit faster, a little bit easier. And that's even without the battery being drained or anything like that. It feels like I'm starting the vehicle with a brand new battery. Now, what's also pretty neat is that I have received a couple updates for this. I don't particularly see what changed, but it's neat to see that they are sending updates via the app, including firmware updates. So I'll place a link in the description down below to the Ancel Super Starter. I think this is definitely a must-have for anybody who wants to have peace of mind of never being stranded again. And if you guys have any other questions regarding this, please put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have a lot more reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.